What's up, y'all? This is Nina Perez, and this is Straight Talk, no sugar added. And as you guys know, I go around this freaking amazing planet of ours, finding the best humans that I can find to come on here to grow, challenge, and transform your thinking. Now, you might recognize this handsome man over here. His name is Clifford Starks. He was on here before, and he is a high achiever, a retired UFC fighter, a business coach, and a leader. And he focuses on connecting with the most brilliant minds in multiple industries to support business owners. As you know, business owners need a lot of support, right? And so that he wants to do that so they can maximize their time and energy and live their greatest lives. And, right now, especially Cliff, I found that people like you who are really focusing on these business owners are super important because of the times that we are in, right? We are in serious times that are really heavy, and they're like people are struggling finding good employees and struggling with their mindset. So Cliff, before we get into all the nitty gritties of everything you've been doing since the last time we spoke, how are you doing? How are you?
I'm doing amazing. Glad to see you again, Nina. And yeah, I'm excited to have this conversation. You saw my two little ones, my wife, and I'm going to get 2 pumps of vanilla in my matcha green tea. But that's
you know
okay because we're taking the sugar out here, though. This is
Right,
how we do it
right.
here. So we're gonna
It's
have
so
some
funny.
fun.
I was going to shout you out with the 2 pumps of vanilla, but I said,
Yeah.
let me not do it. But you did it to yourself, so it's all good.
I say, okay, so to be a true high achiever, I say take what you do seriously. Don't take yourself so seriously.
Yeah,
Enjoy
yeah,
life. Have
amen
fun
to
along the way.
that. Amen to that. So, Clifford, we haven't spoken. I think it's been about maybe a year or so, maybe even a little bit more than a year. I guess I gotta check the date. But last time you came on, you told us so much beautiful stories and memories that you've had. Things that were hard on you, but the way you
Mhm.
turned them around in your life, right? And we talked about your dad and his absence, but also your stepdad and him stepping in and showing you what it meant to be, loved and supported and all that great stuff. And so I want to catch up from there. It's been a while since we've spoken. Tell me a little bit about your journey because, I know that you were just kind of dabbling or starting to dabble into getting like into the true essence of coaching and getting all into, podcasting and all that great stuff. So tell me what you've been up to. What's going on?
Yeah. So, uh, as I've gone further and further in my journey, one thing I've realized, like I've always been a coach. It's something
Yeah.
I've always done. I just didn't know that I was doing it. But
Right.
I've also learned
Same, same.
that being a coach and running a business are two different things. They're two forms of skill
Yeah.
sets. So you
Yeah.
can be a good coach, but if you don't have the business know-how and the skills,
For real.
probably not going to make much money.
Right. Ain't that the truth though? I went through that too. I've had other businesses, like I had cooking businesses and things like that. Coaching businesses is way different, right?
Mhm.
But you're right. I mean, I think that when you are a natural leader, right? I know that you were a UFC fighter and a leader and a trainer and all that great stuff. So you're right. You've probably been a coach for much longer than you ever thought you were. When
Mhm.
you're leading people, supporting people, encouraging people, all of that great stuff. So what shifted for you and made you actually want to say, okay, I am a coach and this is what I'm going to be doing? What happened there?
Yeah, my big shift. So I partnered up with a friend of mine. His name's Curtis Teach Out. And I partnered up with him because I saw he had something that would be of value to me, and he saw something in me that would be valuable for him. And he's really good with the external systems of running a business. He's got 12 kids now and
Wow.
5 businesses. So that's
Wow.
a lot to juggle.
That's a
Yeah.
lot of kids.
Yeah, that's a
The
lot.
12 and the 5, because 5
Yes.
businesses, those are kids too.
Yes.
Woo.
Yes. And so seeing that process when we started connecting with one another, I was like, the principles and the philosophies are always the same. They're always the same. And that's when I started saying, like, okay, I don't know it all, but I know more than I realized that I knew.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's when I said, I got to get back to the basics. Like, this is about the basics. This is a game
Mhm.
of the basics, staying consistent and having a North Star that you're staying consistent towards. You start seeing where to prioritize and where to cut things off, where to,
Mhm.
okay, I don't
Mhm.
need this, I don't need this, I don't need this, I need this over here, I need this, and I need this. And so leadership is really figuring out how to align your internal world with your external world, seeing both
Mhm.
working together.
Mhm. How was that process for you? Was that a painful process, like seeing what you had to do? Was there things you had to let go that you really didn't want to, but you really know that you had to, and then when you did, you realized maybe some growth or pain, or was there any moments like that that you can remember?
So one of my skill sets, I have a lot of grace with myself.
Oh, that's good.
Um, so I'm just living and experiencing. So I don't
Good.
look at it as like, oh, this is going to be so painful. Oh, this is going to be so hard. Oh, I'm going to miss
Mhm.
this.
Mhm.
And sometimes that's a blessing and a curse, because when you have such a strong mindset, the external world doesn't affect you as much. Well, if the
Right.
external world's not affecting you as much, you can stay where you're at
I was gonna
with
say
it
that. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
be comfortable with it. Just
Mhm.
like, oh, I'm
Mhm.
good. Oh, I'm good.
Mhm.
And what's good with my wife doesn't get so comfortable with external experiences. You're like, I want this, I want this, I want
Right.
this. So it actually became a superpower in a way, us
Mhm. Mhm.
being married, because I'm like, wow, I'm so internally strong. I'm fine with whatever I have. Like, I have internal gratitude. I'm just grateful for every moment that I'm given,
Yeah.
but I can have so much more too. And I can give so much more to others too. And so
Right.
I got really excited through that
Mhm.
process.
Mhm. And so how has your business, do you think, changed from where you started to what you're doing today? What
Yeah.
was that growth?
Uh team, and culture.
Mhm. Mhm.
Now, one thing that I focused on is, in life, you take responsibility. Go within, go within, go within. And so that's been beaten into me so much. I'm like, how can I be better? How can I be better? How can I be better? That's what goes into my head. And not
Right.
in a beating you up way, but how can I be better?
Right.
Curious with life. I love life. And then I realized, holy crap, how can my team be better? Looking at a
Ah,
bigger picture. How can the
right.
team be better? How can, oh, this person has a skill that I don't have. How do I utilize that? How do I utilize my skills to help them with the things that they don't have? How do
Mhm.
we come together and exponentially grow? Because 1 plus 1 can equal 11 when it's done correctly.
Mhm. Okay. Okay. So you had a shift focus, and I'm glad that we're having this conversation because a lot of people who listen to this podcast are entrepreneurs, are leaders,
Mhm,
are emerging leaders, right? People who are actually shifting what they're doing to either open their own business or up their game, right? And the
mhm,
only reason I know that is because I really try to stay very connected with my community or people who have been on my podcast or people who I work with, like you and I, we always bump into each other, say, "Hey, how are you? How's it going?"
mhm.
Because I think it's a human connection, right?
Yes.
And I'm glad that they're listening because I think people need to realize that this is not a one and done process. And I think that one of the things that happens, right, Clifford, is like, I especially maybe because I'm always like, posting and stuff like that on social media, that I notice a lot of jargon and a lot of garbage and a lot of things that are just not real. At least they don't feel real. And
Mhm.
I realize, like I know there's a lot of people out there now, join my program and you'll be a billionaire in 90 days, that type of
Yeah,
thing. And
yeah.
then people join and realize they're not billionaires in 90 days and they're disappointed. And it's not because the system doesn't work. It's because
Mhm.
people are over promising and under delivering. Right.
Yeah.
And so we
Mhm.
have to be careful, right? We have to be people with integrity and truth and really being there to help people out. And I love that you just said that. that it's a process of growing. I had to keep tweaking. I have to keep growing. I have to keep pushing because it's not about an overnight thing.
Yeah.
And I think that, you're probably, running into that too. I'm wondering, when you're talking to these businesses, are you taking them like through the process and letting them understand that this is going to take a minute? How are you working with are you working with the CEOs? Are you working with the teams? Are you working, like, how are you working with your businesses that you're
Yeah, so I
focusing on?
work with the owners
Okay.
specifically,
Okay.
and with hearing them and hearing their insights, it was interesting. I got this from being a personal trainer. When I would work with women, it was a different layer of complexity because they think differently.
Mhm.
Generally speaking, there's a difference in how the world is seen. And I
Mhm.
saw that as an opportunity. Like, okay, how do I make this work? How do I make this cohesive? And I realized how powerful stories were, and stories that
Yeah.
fit
Yeah.
people for them. Like, I
Mhm.
couldn't share a story on fighting to someone who doesn't relate to fighting in any way. It wouldn't work for that person.
Right.
And so I started using the stories that worked to help people refine their process, to help people refine those principles. And so I listen closely because people are giving me golden nuggets all the time. They're
Mhm.
filled with wisdom. They're filled with greatness. And it's
Mhm.
just about them looking at that place a little bit more so they can
Right.
get that extra. It's all about
Mhm.
getting the extra. And so when you
Right.
can say, like, you listen closely enough and you start seeing, like, wow, they're brilliant. And now they just need to match them. Either they need to match with another brilliant person who has a different skill set than them,
Right.
or they can they can learn to leverage, because I burnt myself out. I know what burnout feels like. And a high performer, they're gonna, like, I gotta keep going, I gotta keep going, I gotta keep grinding, I gotta keep grinding. Like, grinding for what? What are you grinding
Right.
for?
Right.
Like,
Right.
step back, look at
Right.
the bigger picture and say, where is the solution? Where's the true solution to make everything work seamlessly?
Mhm. Mhm. So do you have like a process or something that you're putting it through? Like, do you have a program,
I
or
do.
do you just do? Okay, tell me a little bit
Yeah.
about that.
Yeah. So the program focuses on the 6 principles and philosophies that I've really learned in fighting. And I was like, oh, wow, the same applied in business. It's the same application. And so I just
Awesome.
focus really closely on, okay, what is it that this person needs? Because you can tell the difference between a confident person versus a non-confident person. You can
Mhm.
just feel
Mhm.
it on their energy all day
Mhm.
long.
Mhm.
And what gets people in trouble is sometimes they overcompensate because they're competent in something, or
Mhm.
sometimes they don't feel confident or competent, so they don't really put in the energy that they need to put in to grow into the thing that they need to grow into.
Mhm.
And so I
Mhm.
asked them, like, okay, what's going to help them with their confidence and what's going to help them with their competence? And here's what gets really interesting, because as human beings, we want safety and security. That's what we
Yeah.
want.
Yep.
So it's about developing rubber skin, I call it. And I say it's rubber skin because the higher you go up the chain, the scarier it feels
Mhm.
to say, like, oh, now I can fall further than I could before.
That's
Not if you
true.
have rubber skin. You will fall. It's going to
That's
happen.
good. Yeah.
But if you
That's
fall
good.
and you bounce higher
Yeah,
than
you
you were
bounce back
before.
up. Yeah. That's really good. And I think that, it's scary, and I even tell some of the, like, the C-suite people and people that I'm working with too, like, you don't know what you don't know. It's scary because you've never been there. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? Like, people are like, "Oh, what if I fail? What if you fail?"
yeah,
You've never even been there. How do you
right,
know? And if you fail, even better, because you failed at a level you didn't know.
yeah,
You know,
yeah,
so it's less scary, I think, right, Clifford? Like, it's less scary when you fail at a higher level, whatever that higher level is for you.
mhm,
It's because you've already touched it. You've been there. Next time when you go, it's not so scary.
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
go, I'm actually a naturally risk adverse person, right? And people
Wait,
would
what?
think,
Who
like,
is?
yeah, I know, right? So people would look at it and be like,
Did I not introduce you as
you,
a UFC fighter?
they go, this guy, there's no way, right?
No
The
way. I
biggest,
call BS on that.
the biggest, scariest thing, the biggest, scariest thing to me on my deathbed doing nothing
Yeah.
terrifies me.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah.
all right, I'm on my deathbed and I haven't accomplished any of the things that I wanted,
Right.
any of
Oh,
my
that
dreams.
would suck.
Dreams
Ugh.
come from going into the uncomfortable.
Right,
It's not
right,
to say that my mind is like, oh, yeah, let's just go there. Like, my mind's
right,
actually telling me, like, what are you doing? Are you getting
right,
ready to walk into that cage? Do you see them opening the
right.
door?
Like what? But you,
The
right,
rescues close the door. They close the door on us, and there's a guy facing you who's trying to punch you in the face. Look what you did, Cliff.
right,
Look what
right.
you
You
did
know,
to us.
Clifford. The rest of us did not do that. So I'm just saying, you could have walked away from the cage. Is all I'm saying.
Yeah, that's the beauty of the journey. Like it, they go, why are you
Yeah.
doing this? My soul is doing it. It's not my
Right.
brain. My brain has a governor on it. I'm not letting that governor stop me
Right,
from
right,
being
right,
what I want to
right.
be.
Right. I love that. So are you saying that a lot of times in your life, and maybe something you see in entrepreneurs, is by following that intuition, that soul, as you call it, right? That unction, as
Yeah,
opposed to the brain, who is always trying to protect us. And because it's trying to protect us, it makes us fearful of things that aren't even things to be afraid of, right? Is that what you're saying?
yes,
Yeah.
100%. It's looking
Yeah.
for every reason not to do something.
Yeah.
And I know even as personal trainers, people will be like, I know it's an excuse. And I just reframe it and say, hey, it's a reason. Now let's give a reason to why we should do it. If we can
Oh,
give
that's
more
good. I
reasons to
never
why
heard
we
it put
should
that
do
way.
something, yeah, just give more reasons to why we should do it. Don't beat yourself up and make yourself feel like crap. The world's good at doing that. You're good at doing it to yourself. So let's
Yeah,
just focus on, what do you want to create? What dream do you want to create? What do you want to
I love
share with
that.
other people?
Yeah, I'm gonna steal that, okay, Clifford?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Share away.
I'm definitely gonna steal that, because I think that, as much as I try to really listen to when somebody's saying something, and listen to words are really important to me, because I think that people manipulate words, lie, they take a word, they
Mhm.
make it something it's not, that kind of thing. So I always try to be clear about what they're saying and what the words that is they're using. And the word excuse, when people say, I know, Nina, I know, I'm just making an excuse, I usually say, well, how do we look at this differently? But I never thought of saying, you know, well, it's a reason.
Yeah.
And that really did something to my brain, like, wait a second. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? Because when we say, I know it's an excuse, it's almost like we are excusing ourselves. Like we
Yeah.
are actually putting the barrier there, you know?
Mhm.
But to say, oh well, that's a reason. So what's another reason? Or how could I look at this differently? I am definitely stealing that. Just letting you
Yeah, most
know, putting it
definitely.
out
Yeah.
there, putting it out there in the universe. I am stealing that. So when you hear me say it, it is from Clifford Starks. Just saying it, just saying it. All right. So tell me about your process then. Is it like, tell me what you do? Okay. So one of the people who are listening right now are like jiving with you, Clifford, and it's like saying, okay, wait a minute. I really like what this guy is saying. What does that
Mhm.
look like? Do they call you and you put them through like a certain process, or what does that look like?
Yeah, so the biggest thing I'm focusing on right now is masterminds. And
I
so in a
love that.
mastermind, I didn't even realize how powerful they were until I
They
got
are.
in my first one.
Yeah.
And I also realized they can be done incorrectly, right? So I'm looking through this process and knowing like, holy crap, it's literally bringing a group of people together and putting them into a space to where they can do more than any
Mm-hmm.
individual could do by themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
that's the game that I want to play, is like, look, let's come together and let's build stronger than you've ever been before by yourself.
Are you doing the masterminds yourself, Clifford? Or are you just joining them, or what is that?
Yeah, so I'm conducting them. Yeah, I'm
Okay,
conducting
great,
them.
great.
And I say, here's what's interesting. A true leader, to me, in my definition, allows you to lead. So
Mm-hmm.
I am a leader and you are a leader, both at the
Mm-hmm.
same time. There is no I'm the leader now and next you can be the leader.
Right.
Now there is hierarchy in things. So
Right,
if
of
you were to
course.
say like, all right, we're starting a podcast, probably should go with Neena over me. I don't do podcasting. I don't know much about it.
Right.
Neena's the one, right? But I'm no lesser than, and
Right.
you're no lesser than. It's just it's an established trust.
Right.
And that's the game that I play. Establish trust. We're all leaders all the time. So when people come into that orchestration, we're all being the best that we're built to be together. And we
Mm.
go make magic happen.
So is that with a certain outcome in mind, or is that everybody kind of giving others ideas because they're all masters in their own game, right? Because I know that it's a different skill set, right? Like your skill set, like you said, you don't do podcasting. I've been doing it for like 4 years, so I probably know a
Yeah.
little bit more, right? So
Yeah.
it's about being in this room and enhancing each other's strength and weaknesses so that we can make the weakness stronger, right? And the stronger, in other words, with ideas, right? With
Yeah.
outcome.
Hmm.
Is that how you're running it?
Yeah. We're looking for results specifically. And
Okay.
it's really figuring out what result are you looking to get and how can
Mm,
the team serve you effectively. Who can we point in your direction? Who can
mm.
what
I love
idea?
that.
Yeah, what exercise, what thing is needed to create your reality? Because as humans, we're natural problem solvers too. It's in
Yeah,
our
yeah, yeah.
nature to do it.
Oh, yeah.
And so when we find a problem and we really understand the problem and we actually take the time to put all our brain energy on one problem, we solve them faster.
Yeah, that must be really rewarding for you too to see, right?
Oh,
To
it's
see that
awesome. Yeah.
yeah, it must be. It really must be. So tell me about like say you're at this mastermind and are you focusing on on the collective, like is everyone kind of bringing an idea or something that they're struggling with or wanting to get higher in, or are you bringing up a topic and they all bring an idea around the topic? How are you running that?
Yeah, so I call it structured flow. And so I do have a structure on looking at what a person's pain point is and
Okay.
just seeing like who wants to talk, who's looking to go. Just as I talked about culture, everybody has to be respectful,
Of
right?
course. Mhm.
And in the respectfulness, they actually move one another. It's very interesting.
Yeah. Mhm.
Like, so as I go through it, I don't have to have a ton of structure with high performers. High performers are going to
Right.
perform at a high level.
Yeah.
You know, you
Yeah.
take a bunch of athletes who are high performers and you just give them a basis of what they're looking to do, they're going to do it probably better than you could do it by yourself.
Yeah.
So, seeing that, like, I get to orchestrate and play into a direction of, okay, how are you feeling?
Mhm.
Why are you
Mhm.
feeling that way? What are you looking to create? Because that solution that we find for one might be the solution for three others too.
Yeah. That's so good. And it's like it's really powerful, right? When you can get and I agree with you about the high performers. I work with high performers as well.
Mhm.
Because I know that they're also going to be self-starters. I know that they're going to do what they say they're going to do and I don't have to hold hands.
Yeah.
And sometimes you need to hold a little bit of a hand, but you don't need to like really draw it all out, hold their hand through the whole like they're self-starters, they're going to make it happen.
Yeah.
And that's how you know you have the right team, the right group. And so what you're building, Clifford, is not just even a mastermind, but a community, right? A
Mhm.
community of high achievers and a community of shakers, like people who are just going to go out there and do something about it. That's pretty
Yeah.
powerful, especially when you are starting a business, creating a business, and then oh, wait a minute, you know what? Clifford does this, and I know I can probably ask him to speak in my mastermind about this, or or vice versa, right? Oh, Nina does podcasting and this person needs to be out there in a podcast. Maybe I can connect with Nina. You know what I'm saying? Like that networking stuff is powerful.
100%.
Powerful.
And now
Powerful.
I want to give you your shout out too, because you were mentioning Jeff Lopes, and you said,
Love
"Hey,
him.
have I connected with him?" So you introduced me to him, and I instantly my mind went into he's probably a really cool dude
Yeah,
because
he is
you're
such a
really
cool
cool,
dude.
right?
Yeah. Oh, thank you.
And yes, and so I look at it this way: is I want to get to know the people that I want to get to know, and then
Yeah.
if I like them, I want to be connected to their people.
Yeah. Yeah.
And a lot of
That's
people
so
make it
good.
way harder and say like, okay, I'm gonna go talk to 1,000 people,
Yeah.
random people,
Yeah.
and connect with them all and see what happens. Please don't do that to yourself. It's just
Right.
there's
Right.
way easier ways to go about life.
It's so true. And it's true. Same thing with Jeff. The first interview I did with him, he was really cool about it. He did it on a Saturday, which he never does, but he was
Mhm,
kind enough to do it for me. And then I don't even know why. He was just being nice. Because I
mhm,
know. I saw him on an interview and I'm like, holy crap. I really love your stuff, and I really do love his stuff. I watch his stuff all the time. He has
mhm.
really good podcasts, like a really good podcast. Shout
Yes,
out to Jeff Lopes. If you guys do not know Jeff Lopes, go check out his podcast. You will not be disappointed. And Clifford, you were on there, weren't you? On his podcast?
I was,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
100% agree. Love what you both stand for, and what's interesting because I do give myself so much grace. As a parent of two and
Mhm.
being married for 15 years, life throws things at you. It just does.
Yeah. It does.
You're like, and I'm doing my best to figure it out. And I use insights from you. I use insights from Jeff. I use insights from people who are messing it up because they can
Right.
even teach me what not to do.
Oh
Right.
yeah. Oh yeah. A
So
lot.
I look at the world and
Yeah.
say like, oh, everybody has something to teach me, and
Mhm.
I just have
Mhm.
to be able to ask the right questions. That's the other thing about the mastermind is
Yeah.
sometimes when we ask the right questions, we open up the thing that we didn't even know needed to be opened up.
Right. Now, are you allowing people right now at this point to join the mastermind, or is there a like, so say somebody's listening right now, they want to
Yeah.
work with you. How do they work with you, and what does that look like? Do they do a one-on-one with you? How does that look? Tell me about that.
Yeah. Great question. So if they want to work with me, reach out to me. Let's have a conversation. Always
Okay.
starts with the conversation first. I don't like rushing into things,
Mhm.
and I'm learning more and more about myself as I'm going through this journey too.
Yes, good.
I don't like rushing. I don't like saying like, "All right, I can fix you, and this is how I can fix you because I did a 15-minute onboarding and I understand you." No, I want to
Right.
get to know you. I want to know
Right.
what you stand for. I want to know what your dreams are. I want to
Yeah.
know what's keeping you stuck. I want to know what keeps you up at night or what empowers you. I want to
Right.
know about you. So if I resonate, let's get to know each other. And then
Right.
from there, you get to see if we're a good fit and if we can work together.
Right. You know what I like about that though, because I do the same. My calls are not 15 minutes. My onboarding or my consultation or free consultation or whatever, it's like 45 minutes because I need
Mhm.
to know that at the end of that call, you can work with me because I'm going to hold your ass accountable. But that I
Yup.
also that that
Yup.
because not everybody can do straight talking. They can't, right? Like I'm
No.
very compassionate. I'm very empathetic. I'm very kind, and I love people, and I want to see them thrive. But I also don't do well with BS, right? Like I need you to know that you have to
No,
be a
that's
high
why you're
performer.
gonna yeah.
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
if I was so I talked to my coach and I told him I want to be in the UFC in less than a year. He told me my ass was crazy.
Right.
And I did it in less than a year. And it
Wow.
wasn't like I will just take what I need to take.
Right.
So I'm not looking for,
Oh, I love
"All right,
that.
Cliff, it's okay, buddy. It's gonna get like." No, I knew I was in for one of the hardest challenges of my life. I accepted. Challenge accepted.
It's okay,
Let's see what
buddy. You're gonna
happens.
be fine.
Yeah, yeah, let's see what happens. And it's just
Right.
like he threw me into the fire pit and I came out.
Wow. That's
That's the
so
name of the
good.
game.
Yeah. That's so good though, right? And that's what I want everybody to understand as you're listening to Clifford as well is that, you can start to create and do things that you really want to do, right? And so what Clifford is offering is literally a community of minds, a community of minds, right? And that's what a mastermind is. So
Mhm.
Clifford, for these people who are listening, how do they reach you though? You didn't give us that. So they want to talk
Yeah,
to you. They supposed to just go like this or something? Tell us how they're supposed to reach you,
just throw
Clifford.
it in the world. Throw it out in the universe.
Just put it in the universe.
So you can reach me on LinkedIn, um, just Clifford Starks, or on
Okay.
Facebook. You can reach me in my messenger. Uh, or you can, I'm going to just throw it out there. Let's see what happens. My cell number is 602-403-6957, and text me spoke to me, or yeah,
Okay.
spoke to me. And that
Okay.
way I'll have an idea of
Who you
connecting
are.
back with
Who you
you. Yeah,
are.
if you just call me,
Woo!
you won't hear me because I I don't answer numbers I don't know.
Okay. Well, that's cool. I mean, all right. Well, if you threw it out there, it's out there. I just got to let you know that I think I'm up to almost 20,000 downloads a month. So just don't be mad at me. Just don't be mad at me because I didn't
I
tell you
will.
to do all that.
I'll be like, Nina, what did you do? No,
What
take
did I did? It
responsibility.
wasn't me. It
Clifford did it
wasn't
to
me.
himself.
It
I'll
wasn't
take full
me.
responsibility.
Clifford, you are so awesome. And I really enjoy talking to you. I love your energy. I love what you're about. I knew that this conversation was going to be fun, but even our first conversation, we had so much fun and
Yes,
we unpacked unpacked who you were and what you've been through, but also how you overcame. And so that's why I wanted to take this on a different direction. Like, what do you do now and how are you impacting the world? Right.
yeah,
And I love that you're doing what you're doing. I love that you like the 2 pumps of vanilla in your drink. I love all of that. That is just so fun. So thank you for being on the show. Thank you for impacting my audience. Thank you for
yes.
being real, keeping it real. And for all of you who are listening, please make sure that you reach out to Clifford. But Clifford, thank you for being on Straight Talk. I appreciate you, bro. I really do.
Thank you, superstar. Appreciate
Yeah,
you.
thank you.
Keep
I
shining
appreciate
bright.
you. Thank you. Guys, don't you love him? I love him. I know that as he keeps growing and keeps like creating and keeps coming out with more stuff, I want to keep having him on because I love this kind of energy, right? People who just want to show you what it means to just keep going, keep pushing forward. I love the line where he said, I just knew what I had to take, so I took what I had to take. That is so freaking awesome. If that's the like one thing that you could take away, any little thing that you could take away, then you're already on a path to win. So thank you
Amen.
guys for being here. Thank you for being on Straight Talk. I love you guys so much. Don't forget to connect with me on winject.com/register. Get onto my community. Love you guys. And we will speak soon. Until next time.